Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious back in the bunker. Purple State Party. Full disclosure time. I'm recording this Sunday morning. I recorded one last night. Something went wrong with the technology. You know how it is. That's what happens every now and then. But we're going to start off in a good mood today because we're pretty close to the 4th of July around here. We have some fun on the 4th of July. Blowing up watermelons, things like that. Usually post that on my other channel. Maybe I'll post it here this year. I don't know. So we're going to kick off this 6 days until 4th of July. Kid Copious style right there. I got streamers all over the place. All right, so, one cool thing, keep the cool vibe rolling, is that the National Women's Soccer League is having a tournament, the Challenge Cup, and I lost out on, I lost a team, the Seattle Reign. They're now OL Reign, Olympica Lyonnais, I don't know. They're a French club. They're good. The can't remember the dang name right now. It's flying off the top of my head. But anyhow, I watch English and the Italian. So I had to get a new team. And like I did in 1976, when my dad said, "What team do you like? Pick it by the logo." And I just picked the Minuteman, which turned out to be the Patriots. Still a Patriots fan all these years later. When I got into soccer, I started playing one of the soccer video games. I think it was like FIFA 93. I don't know. I'll look it up. I didn't think I was going to mention it. And, I saw an English team. I don't know why I went there. I think somebody I was watching played in England. Or, I don't know. But anyhow, I saw the cannon, and I've been an Arsenal fan ever since. So this year I went with this logo, and they were playing the first game against North Carolina in this cup. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool because, that's the only game that they're showing of the opening rounds on network television. It's on CBS All Access, I think, which means now I'm going to have to get that dang app. They suck you right in, man. Pretty soon I'll be paying as much as I did for cable. So anyhow, I was pleased to see that they had a player on the Thorns, Portland Thorns FC, Lindsey Horan, and from the American team. Always liked her. Noticed that she liked to sort of take little jabs at some of the Swedish players, Oslani, Blackstenius, two people that I follow on Instagram. That way, whatever. She's on the team, and then they've got a goalie, Bella Bixby. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. They got a Bella Bixby and Haran's on the team. But another reason I really had to drop the Reign was a certain player on the team, right there. I mean, she's great. I'm not taking anything away from her. I used to really like her, but I have a big problem with the people who are champions and they don't want to meet the president. Now, I understand. People have their own opinions, their own values. But I think that's the kind of grandiosing stuff that needs to stop. It puts people off and it accomplishes nothing because all you're doing is saying, I am not going to go visit with Trump. I don't like him. I'm not going to go visit with him. Great. So everybody, they quote you because you're so famous and everything. And, what gets accomplished? You let everybody know that you think Trump's a bad guy. But if you go and you meet the guy, maybe, possibly, I don't know how these things work. Maybe you can get a few seconds, a few minutes to talk. Maybe you could bring up something that you guys can find a common ground on. Maybe you can accomplish something by making allies instead of enemies. Because when you make enemies, it's self-centered. What good's it going to do? Wow, okay, you don't like him. All right. But you can work with people. And I don't like it when athletes make it more about themselves than the cause. That's just the way I see it. You know, I thought she was kind of a grandiose player, and you know, I really don't think. I think she really proves that point. She's not even in the Challenge Cup. The only thing I read was that she wasn't there. That was it. There was no explanation. If there is one, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear all constructive criticism. But you know, that's the same thing with the taking of the knee. You know, when I was only a few months old in Mexico City at the Olympics, two of our runners, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, did what's known as the Black Glove protest. You know, fun fact, Carlos forgot his glove, so he had to wear the left one, so he's not even really making the official, I guess people called it Black Power salute back then. They claimed that it was for more, or they said words. We don't, you know, we try not to mess around with them here. It's the right word for the right thing. But, you notice they're standing there. They're not they're calling attention to a cause. There's two of them. And I think that's fine. I mean, they were standing. They weren't so, you know, they had their hands above their heads instead of on their hearts, but they were standing. When you look at that picture, they're all standing. They're all, to me, that picture is everybody showing reverence for the flag. I mean, I don't know where the judges are from, but, you know, I don't know how much reverence they're supposed to show for our flag. But, you know, that's what we need. We need to remember that we solve our problems through solidarity, not, you know, having, wow, that's really high up. You know, we solve our problems not by, you know, running to our corners and fighting it out that way. You know? It just makes me pause for a second. Some technical difficulties here. But, you know, when we're talking about you know, coming together, one of the things that is really ripping us apart is the way the media and media groups or companies operate. You know, we don't need everything to be politics. We don't need everything trying to shape the world in your best interest. You know, that's really bugging me. It's probably really reflective too. But this is, you know, right here, as you're seeing, I just typed that in. And unless there's a subset of people out there who make a lot of memes centered around Trump wearing adult diapers, I don't know. And it's kind of ironic though, because their candidate is actually older. And we're not going to get into any of that other stuff right now. We're going to move right along. But that's why everybody's moving here. And again, it's the division. They want to keep us apart. It's part of the plan. And they're doing a brilliant job of it. Because when the president calls for the end to violence and says he might do something about it, and they deem that to be, you know, a call to violence, and that's how they state it, and that's how they block it or ban it, you know. They banned a very popular memer right here, Carpe. They banned him. And that was sort of the end for a lot of people, because he skewered them in a way that I guess hurt. And so they shut it down. You know, they shut down posts like this, you know, where people try to make a point. Well, if that's trying to make a point the wrong way, it comes down. If it's making it the right way, it seemingly stays up. And, you know, that's not cool. They have the right to do it. This isn't First Amendment, but you would think that companies, people too, would tend to think along the lines of the Constitution. You know, why is it that they want to ban free speech? That should be ingrained in our souls as Americans, that we have the right to free speech. You know, that should transcend your political views. You know, stuff like this right here. You know, That's who's being rejected. That's who's being exposed. And if you tune to CNN and you want to see the slants and you want to see, the supposed, white supremacist driving her car through protesters when it turns out that protesters attacked her, there was even a weapon involved, and she did what she had to do to protect her life. But they can twist that just like Carpe twisted that CNN piece, because they make their money. I mean, it's as simple as that, man. I mean, I'm just like a sports announcer. I see a play, and either the runner was safe or the ball crossed the goal line. Either the dude was offsides or he wasn't offsides. I mean, it's just that simple. And it seems like the more people who are in the middle or on the right are pointing out the faults of some of these agencies, all of a sudden we're getting all this ramped up censorship on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm sure all the rest of them. What are you gonna do? But it's there. I mean, that's the truth. Whatever. I mean, there was a news agency that was branded as racist, and some coach had to apologize for it. And you'll miss these kind of people when they leave Twitter because of their their views. This is a good one. I suggest you follow her. She's pretty sassy. There's another sassy dude. Look at him. He's handsome, isn't he? 18th favorite superhero right there. But yeah, I mean, people on Twitter aren't going to get to see that kind of genius stuff. But, here's we're going to start talking about the theme of who memes better, sort of. I guess that's how I frame it. I don't know if it's really true. I've tried to figure it out, but I don't know what the scientific formula is. But there's a good one. That's a good point. It skewers both of them. Biden's getting old, okay, and Trump's duping people. All right, boom, okay. Makes a solid point, This one, I don't know. I suppose it's supposed to be anti-Trump. I mean, they stuck his head on what I think is a woman's body, and but he's got two pistols. It looks kind of badass. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's an evil world, and sometimes we need to do evil things. This one cracked me up. I like this one, but I mean, it's a Beach Boys reference, so my dad really liked that. And so I guess that should insult the boomers. I'm not 100% sure. I just know Brian Wilson. That's all I can say. And I've seen them before at a local arboretum. Yeah, just out there in nature. It was great. Here's another great one from the left. And part of me, when I mess up all the time, right and left, I don't, it's not something I've spent my life thinking about. It's actually more of a new concept to me. Here's another great one. I mean, if you're going to ban stuff, I don't, okay, you're going to do what you're going to do, but I mean, this, okay. Here's a good one. Apparently she doesn't like him. So that's good. I mean, it's kind of creative, I guess. I mean, but, I mean, it's just so broad. Here you go. I love this one because they're laughing about Trump's rally in these times where mass gatherings probably aren't a great thing. You have a lot of protests going on. You have some fake ticket reservations. That's just, get over that. It's just typical weird BS. I mean, it doesn't amount to anything. Last time somebody posted stuff, I saw that 64 people were watching Biden on his live stream, and his last rally barely broke double digits. Trying to work on my pronunciation, folks. Never really thought about it before. Never had to listen to myself so much. Here's a good example of where the right goes. Radio show guy right there, man. On the radio, boom, boom, boom. See, pointing out the fragility that, like, these words, we should be removing them, kind of mocking the whole thing. The fact that we're discussing, like, whether Cleveland should be voiced by a white guy on a cartoon. one of the best cartoons, by the way, of all time. The animated show, whatever, Family Guy. You know, it's not going to solve anything. And it's just one side poking at the other side. And that's very counterproductive, because you poke and then they poke back. I mean, that's just the way it works. See, again, here's somebody saying, like, you know, what the heck? Again, right on point. They're saying he's an idiot. Okay. But they did something clever with the name. See that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a Trump one. I haven't seen a Trump one. But then, you know, you get to the real heart of the matter. You got to jump into, you know, what, well, if you saw the title, you already know. But these guys are insisting on their bill. Now, their bill has some stuff. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've been in a few chokeholds. I know what that feels like. Okay, so let's get rid of it. But the rest of it, we just argue over who's going to get credit for it. And they want it named after a certain guy. And his name is not George Taylor. And it's not George Kirby. I mean, these are two long-term politicians who are trying to tell you that they care about you. They say, we care about you. Then they introduce that. And two of them don't even get it right. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. For all I know, it's fictitious. But I ain't heard that yet. I mean, the video is the video. So be it. You know? Again, here we come with a comeback right here. But I mean, this brings us to a bigger point that, you know, when you look at, again, this is not for me personally, as much as it doesn't sound that way. This is not about Trump being reelected, okay? This is about Biden, and what is going on that side of the fence is not right now. They need a readjustment. When they start talking about open borders and canceling people, and they've got these kind of skeletons in their closet, but they give them a pass, it sort of shows you what kind of a club they're trying to build. You know? I mean, they're practically just giving out kickbacks and favors. They're forgiving these people. They're saying, move on with your career, even though you did this. But other people, you know, now they're doing it with Joe Biden. He's said a lot of things in the past. He's passed bills in the past. He's done a lot of things that are contrary to his current message. He's going after the separation of families at the border. It's been there the entire time. That's what you do. People are caught crossing the border. You have to separate them. You can't have children in there. You need to figure out who the children belong to. You can't, I mean, that's the world we live in. I'm sorry, but that's what's out there. People use children to try to get across the border. I don't know what they do with the children once they get here. I don't even want to think about that. But, you know, we got to let people change. I used to start my day with a half pint of vodka. I'm not that guy anymore. I might sound that way, you know, but I don't drink anymore. I've changed. So I feel like we do have to forgive people a little bit from their past. You know, everybody, including historical figures and historical times. I mean, sometimes that's just the way it was. And you have to accept that. You have to accept that. That's just the way things were done, right or wrong. Right or wrong. You know, in 1776, we fought for the independence of the country. In the 1860s, we fought for the freedom of the slaves. And the 50s and the 60s, we were fighting for rights for people. And finally start to get there. And now we're told, thanks, but it's not quite enough. And I get that. But at the same time, progress has been made. His history shows us that. And we need to remember our history, not tear it down. You know? Here goes another thing that just reveals kind of the sinister nature of what might be going on. You know? If they're willing to go to any length to get power, what length will they go to keep power? It's just something to think about. You know, I love this one right here. This is one of my favorite ones. You know, people like this one but, you know, I have a feeling they're going to rig the debates. They're going to make it in a way that downplays Trump's strengths of, you know, being bombastic and helps Joe Biden by letting him just read off a teleprompter and no one will know. You just put the teleprompter right underneath the camera. I did it. You know, whatever. They're going to pre-program questions so they can just hit a button and he'll have the answer up on the board. That's what they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't already do that. But I don't know. I could care less, really. You know, hopefully we see it, you know, live like it's supposed to be. So then there's this guy. He pops along. Can't even grow a decent mustache and thinks that he's going to lead some sort of rebellion. Okay. I guess so. You know, what do I know? Right? I'm just some dude in a mask. And here, they blame Trump for everything going on with the COVID, and they do that. So they get to blame Trump for that, but they're the ones who did that. So if people start seeing that, like, I don't know how they're going to vote Democrat. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I know the Republicans have a ways to go. You know, that's, you know, one of the things that I would love to be able to change is to get more Republicans understanding that we have to just let things go. There's certain topics that we just need to waste less time on. You know, I mean, around here it's quite simple. You know, gun rights, gay rights. I have no problem with either one of those. They're both equal. People and their rights. Here you go. See, again, this is what, you know, they don't want people sitting there thinking about. Those are true numbers. They came out and they said, oh no, the top 20 worst cities are not all Democrat, and one was some sort of independent. So I don't even, you know, you have 19 out of 20 and your defense is, well, it's not all 20. I mean, that's just kind of pathetic, and it kind of just shows, like, I mean, it should be very clear to voters that the Democrats don't have a good plan. This guy, Mr. Melty Face right there, looks like a G.I. Joe when you hit him with a blowtorch. You know, I don't know, but he's the villain from every single 007 film, as far as I'm concerned. He's Blofeld, and my mind just went, Dr. No, all of that. He's basically Dr. No. He's probably as old as the, you know, Dr. No. Again, here we go. You know, I don't really understand what their point is here. I mean, unfortunately, we live in a society that has created kids that snap. You know, I don't have the answers. I mean, in all honesty, I was probably the kid who would have snapped, but I fought my bullies, and I live with a lot of demons and Ritalin. Again, blame Trump, but then make a joke about it. I mean, I don't even want to get into COVID. That's covered by other people. You know, look up Dr. Kelly Victory. Look her up. Hope I got that name right. I hate doing this off the top of my head when it comes to names. This, you know, I mean, it's not going to change anything. It's not that bad. People can't be that sensitive. People can't. Here's another one. This one was probably one of the better left memes that I saw. I mean, it's a specific point. And then back to what the left puts out. And this, I believe, is a political cartoon. Again, Larry Elder. He's on AM radio in L.A. I don't know when. I don't remember things like that. I'm bad with numbers. Another one, point. You know, it's just right there. Bam, bam. You know, the point's been made. Again, here's another one. Right on point. I mean, if you realize that that's very little hyperbole in there, you know, let that one sink in. Sorry, it's, you know, it's morning time here. Got to get my fluids. Got to get my fluids on. You know, I think we're back to the oh, hey, look at that. There's Kelly Victory. So I got the name right. I'm gonna put it up there. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. So I think we've pretty much gotten through some things here. Got a bunch of, I mean, you might as well talk about this. I mean, they're going to tear down a statue that was commissioned and paid for by former slaves. For Abraham Lincoln, our president. So if you are trying to say that you are against the very notion of slavery existing out there, you want to erase that history, that's the telltale sign of Marxism. Erasing history and then rewriting it. Man, look, Democrat or Republican, man, come on. At this point, we got to start acting like Americans. We do. We have to start acting like Americans. This is BS. If this is where they want to go, because, you know, I know that a lot of this is happening where the Democrats hold power. The Democrats have not spoken out against it. A lot of Republicans haven't really done enough yet either. You know, I would say that, you know, at this point, I think Trump is doing what he can without overplaying his hand, because they're looking for him to overplay his hand so they can exploit that come election time. They're hamstringing him. And I'm not making up excuses. I'll reiterate my point. I didn't even vote for him. He won me over, and the other side lost me. It's a dual thing. Boom, boom. That's what happened. Blame yourselves. You guys put up Hillary Clinton, you know. But they're going to tear down something without even knowing. Again, just showing what their real intentions are, which is a Marxist revolution. I don't know. I really don't know, because, you know, what the odds of that actually working are. Or it's just a waste of time until everybody goes back to college and work. They're just blowing off steam. But, I mean, I wish they would stop with the beatings and the tearing down statues and going too far. You know, just smoke some weed and chill in a park, man. And, here we go. Just a little filler material. One of my favorite movies, Princess Bride. You know. What else we got here? Oh, and now a moment with Candace. And that, again, is part of what they don't want to hear, because last year, you know, there was just a handful of questionable deaths by the police across all nationalities. Things were getting better. Things were being addressed. Now, I'm not arguing whether or not there's still change to be made. There are. You know, I don't really understand how that Chauvin, I don't understand how he was still a police officer if everything I read was true. I don't understand that. I understand that in the heat of the moment, you know, the other officers should have done something. They should have intervened, but I wasn't there. I'm not one of them. That's a tough job, and that's for a court to sift through all of that stuff. So yeah, some change needs to be made. The database, track these guys that have too many complaints. You know, we need to have a better police force, but we need to have a police force, and you don't get there by giving them less money. Look, I don't make these rules, man. That's right. What is right there. You're going to need to spend money for training and things like that. You know? Let's see here. That's a picture of me. But yeah. you know, we got an important decision coming up, and you know, I, you have to look at all the evidence. You really have to, you know, scratch the old noggin and wonder why the sequence of events that's happening is happening. And now I understand, man. You probably, you know, if you're somebody who hates Trump, things are going great for you because they're attacking him. But first of all, it's not really what everybody's seeing because there's a lot of people out there who don't go on Twitter and tell us what they think. They're too busy doing their jobs, and they're all over. They outnumber these lazy people, these lazy bones. So, you know, secondly, like this sequence of events, is that really the way you want to go? What you're seeing? Because the evidence does sort of show that it goes one way. It goes right at the freaking Democrats. They are career politicians. They're politicians who want to become career politicians. They kowtow to the mob. They're too afraid to defend people. We need to get over that. We have to get over that because if we are afraid to speak the truth because the truth offends, then we're effed, man. And we have to do something about it. Any ideas? Copious out. Where is the off button?